What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Confident Flawed Danny here with Brooke to dive into a very hot topic for you guys. And we're going to kind of spin it a little bit different than, maybe what you normally hear really around the world right now is the topic of Ozempic and really just like quick fixes, right? And
Mm.
unfortunately, we're in an industry that really you see a lot of quick fixes because here's the thing, people don't want to work out every day, people don't want to eat differently, right? Not saying you have to work out every day or have to eat perfect, but like it's people would rather just see instant gratification and instant results when it comes to their health and wellness and weight loss and things like that. So the magic or the thought process of the magic of things like Ozempic is very appealing to people, and we totally understand why, right? But there's also some things to consider with that. And, when it comes to Ozempic or other quick fix situations, is there's also some things that need to kind of be considered
Mhm.
to not only just get the results that you're looking for, but also like the long-term, solution for what it is that you're trying to solve with it. So, Brooke, I know you have your own podcast and you just did a big kind of thing on that. So I'd love to kind of, if you can even just kind of break down the basics of like what it is that, it really is and what it kind of means to people. And then we can kind of tie in like, what are some things that they need to kind of consider with that or alternative options that might be better suited for people.
Yeah, definitely. I think that this is, like you said, it's a very hot topic, and it started really becoming about a couple of years ago with just big time celebrities. We were seeing big time celebrities like Kim Kardashian and Jennifer Aniston, and just big celebrities that all of a sudden were losing all this weight. And it's just like, was so, what are they doing? Like, how are they losing all this weight? Especially the Kardashian family, it was big with them. And when it started kind of coming out that this Ozempic, this wonder drug, this wonder weight loss drug, all these celebrities were getting their hands on, and it started making people wonder, like, what is this, like, how, is this legal, what's the process of it? And Ozempic is a semaglutide. There's different versions of it. You'll hear Ozempic is the most common, but you've got like Wegovy. Essentially, this is a medication for people with diabetes, specifically type 2 diabetes. And people actually medically do need this drug and use this drug. But what happened is big time celebrities started using it for weight loss. And after a couple of years, or I don't know the exact timeline, but it started becoming more accessible to the average person like you and I. And it became a method for very, very, very quick weight loss. And a lot of what it's doing is it's directly affecting sugars. Obviously, it's a diabetic type drug, so naturally it is going to affect blood sugar levels. And the goal of it medically is to improve blood sugar levels, but also to lower the risk of major cardiovascular events like stroke, heart attack, or deaths that are a result from type 2 diabetes. And what you'll see with those people who use it, especially who use it that isn't for the diabetic purpose, you're going to see the very, very like sucked in face. You're going to see like a lot of, tightening of skin, which most people, especially women, are looking for. They want that tight skin look. They want that. And I'm not here to say that doesn't sound and look so appealing, right? I mean, who wouldn't want a look like that? But when we really start to look deeper and understand the mechanisms of this drug, especially knowing that this drug was not designed for weight loss, it wasn't meant to be used for weight loss. And it's still really hard to believe that people are getting this for weight loss purposes. And on the other hand, there's actual diabetic patients who are struggling to get this drug, and that's a whole different layer of it. But essentially, how this drug works, without getting into the super big science, is it essentially works with the pancreas to make more insulin, which then decreases the amount of sugar your liver makes, which slows the rate that food passes through your body, making you feel fuller longer. This helps to control blood sugar levels essentially because you are not eating as much food and your body is producing sugar in a different type of way. And that's essentially the process of how it works. So people who love Ozempic are very attracted to that they're not eating as much, which is helping them lose weight. It's helping with sugar issues, so you're not having as much sugar, glucose spikes. So some say it helps with like their stress levels. But there's always a but with drugs that aren't designed used for what they're meant for, is it's not a long-term drug. There's a lot of really scary side effects that are happening with people who are taking Ozempic, especially who don't have diabetes, so they don't have sugar insulin resistance issues. And it's causing heart attacks, it's causing strokes, it's causing a lot of scary side effects. And if it's still so new, that the side effects aren't totally seen, but there are a lot of doctors who are noting that those who take Ozempic for weight loss and stop using Ozempic gain back their weight like times three, because the body stopped using sugar, and your pancreas, everything was affected, and the mechanisms of how our body was essentially using or not using sugar was completely changed. So when you stop taking Ozempic, and your body reacts like crazy, and your fat cells are there's a really scientific mechanisms of what's going on with your fat cells. They duplicate, and it's really, really wild how it works. And again, the science is still so new on this, because again, this drug was not studied clinically for weight loss. This drug was studied clinically for diabetes. And so there's no clinical studies of the side effects of it in terms of weight loss. Like when people get to the goal that they want to get at, then they stop taking Ozempic, which is essentially just a shot that usually you take once a week in the leg. You stop taking it. That wasn't clinically studied because that wasn't the goal of it. And you're seeing a lot of people gaining weight, having a lot of sugar issues, having a lot of heart conditions because the body was doing what it wasn't meant to. And another thing that also, taking away the science aspect, taking away the clinical study aspect, just the general theory that I have too is quick fixes like Ozempic, like, what did they call, like way, way back when they had like the blue pill or something like that you take to like lose weight, and it like sped up your metabolism. So it helped you burn calories faster. Like when you do these things, it's not holding you accountable to still be healthy. And I've said it before and I say it all the time, like food is fuel, food is nourishment. And if you stop like seeing food and fitness as a way to heal the body, and you start to look out elsewhere, like into drugs, into medications to help your body lose weight, you're not fueling yourself properly. And that's maybe not something that's being studied, but just something that I'm hearing. Like I have friends, I know people that take Ozempic, and they might have went on a weight loss journey, started doing Ozempic, and then they stopped caring as much about what they were eating because they were already losing the weight. So then all of a sudden they're eating a lot more carbs, they're eating a lot more sugary foods, they're not eating as much protein, they're going out more often. And maybe, yes, they're not eating as much because they're not hungry very often, but Danny, you say it a lot. You see it very often that women in the gym actually aren't losing weight because they're not eating enough. And so you build this habit of, oh, hey, like I have this drug that's helping me lose weight. Wonderful. Like I don't have to focus on my nutrition. I don't have to focus on, my intake of calories. And then you're really setting yourself up for more damage in your body because you're not fueling your body properly. You're not getting the right amount of macros. You're not getting the right amount of nutrients and micronutrients and, phytonutrients that you're needing because you're not focused on using that food for nourishment and health. And again, when you get off of the drug, because the goal is not to be on the drug for the rest of your life, and people don't have access to, like, you don't get access to Ozempic forever. You don't just get this like never ending, prescription for it. So when you come off of it, not only do you have the side effects medically from what the drug side effects are, you also have habits that now you created that you kind of have enabled yourself to focus on because you depended on a drug to lose weight versus lifestyle stuff. So,
Yeah, that's huge. Some of the stuff I wasn't even aware of or didn't even really think about, to be honest.
mhm,
I'm echoing on yours.
you're echoing.
Maybe I'm not now. I was the first couple things I said. Okay. Yeah, and like I think the last thing that you touched on is probably the most important when it comes to this, whether it's Ozempic or anything that's quick fix, right? Is it's almost like a crutch that leads you to creating bad habits. And as soon as you stop that, you're way unhealthier than you were, even if you lost weight, right? Meaning, like, just your internal body is much less healthy. You probably lost some muscle. Even if that helped you with your sugar, after you're done with it, your sugar is probably gonna be all over the place because you're not eating well. You're not exercising to utilize that blood sugar in the proper way, right? So it ends up just you're losing the weight, but you're setting a poor foundation. And it's kind of like, if you go to build a house and the foundation is cracked, right? Like eventually you're going to have a bunch of issues. And it's kind of the same concept as yes, you're losing weight and things like that, which everybody wants to do. But if you're building a poor foundation or you're, you know, internally very unhealthy from poor lifestyle habits because of this kind of crutch situation, it is inevitable, not even with the science base of things, but it's inevitable that those poor habits, as soon as you're done, is going to translate into you going back to what got you there in the first place, if not worse, because your habits are probably worse than they were before because you're using the crutch. And that's the biggest thing with any type of quick fix is we need to change the situations or the habits that got you to that situation in the first place. If you're not happy with your current situation, whether that's health and fitness, whether that's a career, whether that's a relationship, if you keep doing the same things that got you there, you're going to keep getting the same results. So you need to change the things that you're doing, and if you reverse engineer, like, what does that healthy, happy, lean, muscular, toned version of yourself do on a consistent basis? What are their habits? And kind of emulate what that would be. It's probably eating relatively healthy. It's probably exercising or moving our bodies majority, multiple times throughout the week, right? It's probably getting sleep, working on our stress, right? It's all these things that are going to help build a proper foundation, right? And then if you do that and Ozempic, like then maybe you have a big positive, outlook because then you can actually maintain it after. Right. So I'm not sitting here saying that you should or shouldn't do it per se, but the problem is if you're just doing that and then just letting everything else go to crap, it's going to translate into a negative situation. So
Yep.
the biggest thing I think my takeaway is you need to fix the foundation and emulate what would that healthy version of yourself do on a consistent basis and start doing that. Whether you're doing Ozempic or a quick fix or not, if you at least do those things and supplement with those kind of things, like it's going to allow it to actually work better, really long term, where you don't have to rely on that. And to your point, like you're not even going to be able to rely on it anyways. So what do you do when you get off of that? To your point, like you gain it all back 3 times or 3x, like that's not good. I'm sure nobody taking it wants that. So I think if you can take one thing away from this is you got to fix the foundation in order to, have that base that you can build upon from there. And then if you take things like Ozempic, things like that. We actually have a client here that she she started taking it. She wasn't feeling great when she was taking it. She started taking it, but she knew that she also had to do the other things to fix what got her there in the first place at the same time. And she started to do that, and she did lose weight, but now she hasn't taken Ozempic in a while and she's been able to maintain that and she feels great, right? That's the process if you are going to do it that you need to tie in with it when you go there. And that I think that's such a critical component. Yes, the quick fix is very appealing for any of us in any situation, but if we're not solving the underlying issues, then it's not going to translate the way that we are hoping that it would.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. I think solving the underlying issues and yes, like Danny said, if Ozempic is something that you want to take or want to try and you have the ability and it's recommended by your doctor, I think the biggest thing is to still not forget what you should be doing to nourish yourself. Still make sure you're eating the right foods and vegetables and getting the right, supplements in, getting your exercise in, like still do that and be extra aware of that when you get off of it just because your body has to refigure out how to be normal without the drug. So, still just holding yourself accountable of that. And if you are someone who, wants that quick fix, remember that most quick fixes aren't lifestyles, right? Like, even if we take away medications, like quick fixes of like fasts and juice cleanses and all of that, like, while yes, those are amazing to maybe get you on your right track, they're not sustainable. So to sit there and look at someone or compare yourself to someone who just did a quick fix and looks amazing, like yes, naturally you're probably going to look better when you do these quick fixes, but they're not lifestyle changes. If you can focus on the lifestyle habits, you will be so much better off in the long run. And it's about like life is a marathon. Like you don't most people are very, very blessed to live a long life. And the way I see it is you should want to live a happy, healthy life, that long life versus just a quick little, quick fix of it. So, yeah, that's what we got for you guys. We hope you guys got some value from this episode. We just, again, encourage you to remember that life is that marathon and to, focus on the lifestyle changes, especially if you are wanting to do quick fixes. Don't forget the foundations. If you have someone who you think could get value from this episode, please share this with them. That's how we keep going, is through your shares, your likes, your ratings, reviews, all of that. We truly appreciate that from the bottom of our heart. And we'll be back next week with another episode of Confidently Flawed.